Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle, and I am really excited to be here today. I am an educational sales consultant with hand2mind, but I've been in your shoes. I have been a first grade teacher for 11 years. So I was a teacher and then decided to come and join hand2mind. Great company full of hands-on resources that you'll get a chance to see. But I'm really excited to be here to kind of unbox and unpack those bags and really see what's in them with you. So, a little bit about hand2mind for those of you who are not as familiar. We have been a trusted partner for about 50 plus years with districts, schools, and at home. We're all hands on, so hence the name hand2mind. We are all about pairing those hands on resources with research based content. We're also really inventive, and you'll see that we create new ways to fill those gaps that you'll see in curriculum with new manipulatives, with different programs that really help support what you're doing in the classroom. And we're proven everything that we make is classroom tested and proven effective and easy to use. You may know us from different names: ETA Cuisinaire, ETA hand2mind. We've gone through a couple of name changes, but regardless of the name, we are of the same great quality and we're always hands on. So, just in case you've seen some of those other names, we are the same company, just has gone through a little bit of a name change the past couple of years. So before we get started, for this training specifically, we're going to ask you to have these materials out. So after I show you what you are going to pull out, I'm going to ask you to pause the video and take out all of these materials and have them ready in front of you. So you're going to need to have your first grade literacy kit. You're also going to need to take out the teacher's guide, and the teacher's guide has a nice big teacher's guide on the top, very easy to find. And we're going to be working with the initial consonant J lesson. And this is found at about 8 pages in. So if you were able to, kind of uh, go through the beginning and find the eighth page. It's about 8 pages in, and it says initial consonant J at the top. You're also going to need your reading rod tiles, and there's two um, white envelopes, and you're going to need the one that is initial consonants. So we're going to be working with these, and you're going to need 4 J's, and the J's are going to be in blue, and you're going to need to find these 4 word families. So go ahead, pause the video, and then get these materials and join me back when you are ready. So, our agenda today, our main agenda is to unpack these kits, explore those resources, show you what those resources can be used for. And then the main part is talking about the reading rod tiles and the lessons that you're going to find in the teacher's guide, really walking you through those steps, showing you which part is synchronous and asynchronous into those lessons. And then at the very end, we're going to view the website that we've created for LAUSD for yourself, for the teachers, and for parent support. So that is the agenda that we're going to do. So first, we're going to start with unpacking the kit. So when you open up the kit, you're going to see an implementation guide. So it's paper, it's like a 4 spread booklet. And this is your implementation guide. This is a little bit of background on reading rods, how to use them, why they're so effective, gives a little bit more information. But one of the pages that I really enjoy is on the back, and it's the reading rods planner. And if you're anything like me, being a teacher for 11 years, I had to be extremely organized. And so these planners can help you really plan out each lesson with your students, what you're going to need, how long it's going to take. So just a great tool to use. There is on the inside, I wanted to point out there's this one tip that I find really important. So it says using reading rods. And the first bullet says allow students time to explore the tiles freely before beginning a lesson. Now, first grade teachers, if you're anything like my students were, as soon as you handed out any type of manipulative, what did they want to do first? If you're shaking your head with me, they want to build, they want to play. And I always allowed my students time to explore everything. So I would hand out the snap cubes, and of course, they want to build the tallest tower. And and I allowed them to do that for a couple of minutes to just get it out of their system, to really see what the snap cubes were able to do. And so the same with the reading rod tiles. Before beginning the lesson, allow them to look at the tiles, allow them to see what they are, explore them. And uh, you'll find that you have a lot of success with that. I also wanted to point out this picture shows our reading rod suite. And in your kit, you have these initial consonants and word families, and you also have a simple sentence kit. But if you notice, there's tons of other kits. And so if your students are really enjoying these, it might be good to look into some of these other kits to really extend your lessons. So, what else is in the kit? One of my favorite tools to use with segmenting sounds, so not spelling, but the sounds that they hear are these Alconin boards. And so in your kit, you have a laminated Alconin board, and these have 3 spaces on one side and 4 spaces on the other. And these are used with the laminated counters that are in your kit. You have red counters. I know that on the picture here it's blue, but you have red counters in your bag. And so, what the students are going to do, or what you're going to do with your students, is um, have your students take out, 3 or 4 of those chips, those laminated counters, and put them by there. And then when you're talking about words such as fish, they're going to take one of their counters and they're going to move it up into the board. So if we're doing fish, they would go f, I, sh, f, I, sh, fish. And so they're hearing that fish has 3 sounds in it. Same with cat, k, a, t, cat. So they are, it's a really good way for the students to really see and feel they're moving when they hear the sounds and the words. So these are a great tool for doing things, orally with your students, synchronously with your students, hearing the sounds uh, that are in the words that you're working on. Next, you have 3 additional tools, and the first one is the sentence highlighter strip. And this is a great tool for the students to focus on words and sentences one at a time. So, it might be good for their student book, any of the things that you do on a day to day basis with reading. This is a really good tool to help those students focus. You also have a bunch of sight words. And so these can be used, uh, with your students, picking different words that you're going to use throughout the year. And the last is a whiteboard. And I'm sure that the whiteboards are a great way for you to see the answers that the students are going to do. So if you are doing the Alconin boards and you are, wanting the students to create their own word, or write down a word and tell me how many sounds you have, it's a great way for you to assess the understanding using the whiteboard and the dry erase markers. So now we're going to go into the kind of the meat of the training, using your teacher's guide, using your student guide, what a lesson actually looks like, how you're going to do the lesson. And so first, I just wanted to show you the student books. So the student books, are really nicely done. They are very inviting looking, they're very colorful, and these are going to help the students to continue and extend the lesson that you're doing. And if you can see, the inside is all in color and they match the tiles that you're going to be using with them. So that's also a really good way for the students to learn more about the tiles, is by doing these extension activities and noticing that the tiles match their student book. We already talked a little bit about the teacher's guide, but we're going to go step by step on each part of the lesson. But in the teacher's guide, you have full lessons. So it's going to give you all the materials that you need to complete your lessons with the students. So, like I had asked in the beginning, I'm going to have you using your initial consonants kit. And in there, you have your consonants, which are in blue, and they are double-sided. So make sure to realize that they do have letters on both sides. And you have the word families, which are in yellow. And I had spoken a little bit earlier about my organization. And with these tiles, I wanted to give you a little bit of an organization tip. These are going to need some kind of organization. And so you can talk to the parents about it, you can show the students about it. But here is what an example of what I did with my tiles. So I put a big bag, which is initial consonants. And inside, I have two baggies, one with the consonants, all of my blues, and one with the word families, all of the yellows. Um, so this is kind of really easy to organize. Our simple sentence kit has a lot more to it. It has 7 different parts, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. But I did want to show you that I did the same thing with my simple sentences. I had one big bag, and then each color, each different part of the simple sentence is in its own separate baggie. So it's really easy to pull out what you need, and it's all organized there for you. So we're going to go ahead and walk through and model an activity, and we're going to do that initial consonant J. So I know that you have things that are in front of you and you can follow along with me as we talk about the different parts. So the component of the lesson, and these are for every single lesson, which is really nice. They all have the same components. They're all going to start with the materials that you're going to need. So you can prep your students maybe the night before or in the morning about what they're going to need for their lesson today. There's going to be the objective. So we're going to create words beginning with J. You're going to introduce the concept, teach the concept, assess for understanding, and extend the concept. And so we're going to go ahead and walk through what each part of this looks like, and feel free to come along with me. I know that you have your tiles that ask for to get the component, the consonant J out, and those 4 word families. So you can go ahead and do it with me as well. So here is your teacher guide page. And so again, it starts with the materials and the objective to create words beginning with J. And we're going to introduce the concept. Boys and girls, today we are going to talk about the consonant J. And so I want you to go ahead and take your finger and I want you to draw in the air a capital J and a lowercase j. And so we're going to go ahead and write those J's. And then I'm going to ask them what sound J makes. J. And we are going to then go ahead and ask them to take out what they need. So they're going to take out their 4 blue J's, kind of like the bird, but blue consonant J, and their 4 word families. So you can, put that up there. You can figure out a way to have your students really find those. And so once they have those, then we're going to go ahead and move on to teaching the concept. So teach the concept comes next. And we are going to have them place one of their J's in front of et. So, boys and girls, can you find the word family et for me? Let's go ahead and put our J in front of that. And we're going to say J makes what sound? J. And then we have our word family et. J, et, jet. And we're going to go ahead and walk through all of them. Can you put your J in front of eep? J, eep, jeep. And then we're going to do it for jog, and we're going to do it for jump. So then I would have the students reread the words. We'll talk about the words. What do they notice about them? They all start with the letter J. J is at the beginning of the word. And then I might pause for a little bit of understanding. So I might say, can anyone tell me which word is another word for plane? And they would say jet. Which word is another word for hop? And so it's including some of those vocabulary words as well, so that they are really understanding the words that they read. And then we're going to go ahead and check for understanding. So I'm going to build a group of words for the students. And I'm going to say, boys and girls, which one of these uh, three words start with our letter J? And they would look and see that jam starts with J. And then I'm going to probably do a couple more groups of words and have them really notice the letter J and then sound out the word. What what word is that? Jam, jam. So you're checking to make sure that they're looking for that letter J, that they recognize the letter J, and that they know what sound the letter J makes. So all three of those are done synchronously. You're going to introduce the concept, teach the concept, and assess for understanding all with your students. And if you're anything like what I did, you always come up with some new things that you can add in with your lesson for J. And then at the end, there's going to be extend the concept. And these are things that your students can do asynchronously. So they can do these by themselves. So along with the lesson, there is a student page and it looks like this. And you can see it is all in color. It's asking them to find J and their word family, build the words, say the words, and then fill in the J's. So they're practicing writing their J's. They're going to sort the words at the bottom. So they're still practicing those words. There is also in your bag these cards, and there's a card for each one of your lessons to really extend that. And the students can take these out and they can work on the lesson by themselves. It could also be with their parents, another way to like pull in that parent engagement. But also in this section there is a game for the students or some kind of activity for the students to continue to extend. So this is the J word train, and so they're using some of their other tiles and they're building words with their J and finding other word families that they can create words. And this can be something that your students do by themselves, and then maybe they pick a word and they write it on their whiteboard, and then they get to show what word they did, and you can make a J train throughout your whole entire class as well. So different ways that you can extend the lesson. So I had said we're going to talk a little bit more about our simple sentences kit. And so our simple sentences kit has a few more parts to it, and we're going to look at that. They have the nouns and noun endings, so those are in green. There's pronouns, which are in a mint green, and verbs and verb endings, which are in yellow. And I just wanted to point out the yellow is the same color as your word families. And so you're going to need to make sure that the students are separating and keeping their kits together and figuring out a way to organize it so that it doesn't blend, it doesn't mix. You also have adjectives and adjective endings, and that's in red. Adverbs, which are in orange. Conjunctions, which are in a purple, my favorite color. Prepositions, which are in kind of like a lighter blue color. And of course, our punctuation, which is in white. So there are 7 different parts to these simple sentences kits. Um, and so again, make sure that they're separating and putting it into baggies. And so we're going to walk through the lesson, and you're going to notice that there are a lot of things that are the same as the other one. So this lesson that we're going to model is counting words in sentences. And again, you'll see there's materials. All it needs is your simple sentences kit. There's an objective. Uh, we're going to develop awareness for sentences and the words that make up those sentences. So we're going to really count those words. And then you'll see that there's an introduce, a teach, assess, and extend the concept just like before. So we're going to introduce the concept to here. So you're going to ask the students to look around the room and write down some of the things that they see. And so when I was working on this, I was working on this around the holiday season. And so here are the words that I came up with: Christmas tree, desk, notebook, computer, TV, books, lamp, bookshelf, and chair. So those are the words that I came up with. And you can ask your students some of the things that they see. Maybe they're similar. Maybe some of them have some different things that they see. But you're just going to ask them to look around, and then you're going to ask them to write a sentence using as many words as they can. So, I'm an adult, so I wrote quite a long one. Your students might not write such a long one, but as I sit in my chair and work at my computer, I enjoy watching TV and looking at my Christmas tree. So then we would go through, we would count the words: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So Miss Robbins made a sentence with 21, and you might have them go ahead and count theirs and share the how many words are in their sentence. But at this stage, I also want to make sure that they realize that there are 2 things that I did not count when I was counting my words. I did not count my comma, and I did not count my period. And so then you can go ahead and and explain that punctuation is not counted when you are counting the words in a sentence. So then we're going to go ahead and teach the concept. So you're going to have the students take out their kits and see how many sentences that they can build on their own that have 2, 3, 4, or 5 or 6 words in them. So you might model it and show a sentence with 2. And so I made a sentence, and you can see that there are 2 words in my sentence. He ran slowly. There are 3 words in my sentence. My jeans are brown. I have 4 words in my sentence. We went back to bed. 5 words. They have an orange elephant now. 6 words. So you're going to show some of the sentences that maybe you put up and have the students count the words with you, and notice that they can create ones that are very similar, that have 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 words in it. So give them some time to create some sentences. Maybe at the beginning you have a student share a couple while they're working, but see if they can come up with some sentences on their own. And then together, you're going to create a chart. So, which ones have 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 words? And you can, do that on your computer. I know that a lot of people have, that sharing capability, even a Word document, and you can, ask a few students about their sentences and fill it in where it belongs. Once you have your chart filled in, this is a really good time to stop and ask your students what they notice about the sentences. They might notice that they all have periods at the end. They might notice that they all start with a capital letter. They might notice that the ones that have 6 words or 5 words have more description to them. They tell you a little bit more. So it's just good to to stop for some time and really ask those students what um, what they notice. And then we're going to go ahead and assess for understanding. So here I'm going to make a sentence. She ran home from school. I'm going to call on a student and I'm going to ask them to count the words. They're going to count and tell me there are 5. I might make another sentence and do the same thing. This is a great way to have my school. When I was working, we did a lot of student led. So you can have your student make a word and have another student count it. So it's a great, you can have it student to student as well. And then we come to extend the concept. So in this case, you do have the same thing. You have another uh, page for your students to do in their workbook by themselves. And you can see that the colors match their tiles. There's also an activity, and this is something that they can do with their parents, or you can do it, or you can tell them to take it out and they can do it by themselves. And then there's a game here, and it's about shake and spill. So they can put some of their tiles into a cup, shake up the cup, dump it, and create a sentence. And, students love to make silly sentences too. So that might be a really good option and really fun for your students to make a sentence from just those couple that they put into a cup and shook them up. So we are done looking at the reading rods. And if you have any questions at the very end, I'm going to show you who your partner is to reach out to for any of those questions. But really, the more that you do these, the better that, or the more comfortable that you will feel. They are very, step by step. And so I know that you're going to do a great job with implementing those lessons. So along with that, we have ongoing parent and teacher support. So we are not going to just hand you the kit and say use it. So we really want to support your use of these kits. And so we have a parent site that um, and a teacher site. And most of the stuff is pretty familiar, but I'm going to go ahead and pull this up, and I'm going to pull it through over here to share. And so here is the teacher site, and I'm going to play this. And so this is the teacher site, and you'll notice at the top it says stay up to date. And so you're going to put your email address because if there's any changes. There are the digital guides by grade. So you can click on one and you'll have all of your digital guides. And then if you scroll down, there are videos for every single manipulative and every single grade level kit. So if you're wondering what manipulatives are in other grade levels, if you're interested to know how to use some of these manipulatives and resources, you can go ahead and watch the video. Uh, and I'm going to show you an example of a video in just a second. But here's what the parent one looks like. So the parent looks a lot, it looks very similar. It's going to ask for their email address. They can look for different products for their students. And then they also have access to the videos. So these videos will help your parents to understand how to use um, each of the manipulatives that they're going to find in the kit. So I'm going to play you a sample video, and this is the Reading Rods video. And it has music in the background, so I'm not going to talk through it, but I just want you to notice some of the things that they're doing and how this would be beneficial for the parents and for yourself. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag this over again. All right. So it's a great video for the parents. It is also in Spanish and just shows how they would do one of these extension activities with their student. So we have come to the end of our time together. And so I just wanted to thank you. Again, my name's Michelle. I am here with Hand to Mind. However, if you have any questions while working with your students, your partner, um, his name is Lloyd Martinez. And here is his email. And you can email him with any questions that you have about the kits, about using the kits. But I really hope that this was beneficial and that you got a lot out of it and you saw how step by step and easy to use these resources are. So thank you and have a fabulous day.